Okay, so good morning, everyone. Last time we talked about conditionals and we already discussed the first type of conditional, which is the zero conditional. So now, before we discuss the three more remaining types of conditional, let us have a quick recap about what we have discussed last time. Okay, so again, conditional, when we say conditional, sometimes conditionals are called if clauses. Okay, so they describe the result of something that might happen in the present or in the future, or might have happened but didn't in the past. So conditionals help us to talk about possibilities, consequences, and what could happen if something else happens. Okay, so usually conditionals are divided in conditional sentences rather are divided into two parts. Okay, so we have the if clause or the conditional clause and the main clause. So for you to be able to understand it more, there is a visualization of the parts. Okay? So just like what I've said, there's the conditional clause and there's the main clause. Okay. So in the conditional clause or the if clause, no, it presents the condition. However, on the main clause, it explains the result when that condition is being met. Okay? Say, for example, if you pray. So in this case, this is the conditional clause. Okay? Again, this is the conditional clause. Now, the result of this is God listens. So now that's our main clause. Okay? So our sentence is, if you pray, God listens. So sinasabi lang dyan na ang condition dito ay kapag ikaw ay nanalangin, ang resulta ay papakinggan ka ng Diyos. Okay? Another example. If you pray hard for it. Okay? Again, this is the if clause or the conditional clause. And mind you that if clause or the conditional clause presents a particular condition. Okay? Now, the main clause is you will receive it. Okay. That now explains the result of the what? The condition. Okay. So the sentence would be, if you pray hard for it, you will receive it. Okay, that's the result, no? That's the result of this condition. Ibig niyang sabihin, kapag ikaw ay nanalangin ng bahagya, or if you pray hard for it, you will receive it. Matatanggap mo yung ipinanalangin. Okay, so those are the two parts of a conditional sentence or a conditional statement. Now, okay, there's a note. Main clause may appear before the conditional clause. Let me just erase this. All right. Okay. So, main clause may appear before the conditional clause. Ibig sabihin, pwedeng mauna ang main clause bago ang conditional clause. Paano po yun, teacher? Results muna bago yung condition? Yes po, it is possible. Say for example, okay, ito rin siya, binaliktad lang natin. Okay? Right. God listens. So that's the main clause. If you pray. Okay? So, in this, nauna yung main clause or yung result bago yung condition or yung conditional clause. Another example, you will receive it if you pray hard for it. Okay? Matatanggap mo yung ipinanalangin mo kapag pinanalangin mo siya ng taimtim or ng bahagya. Okay? Nauna yung resulta bago yung yung condition. Okay, so that is the parts of a conditional sentence or a conditional clause. We have the if clause or the conditional clause plus the main clause. However, pwede mong baguhin yung structure nito. Ibig sabihin, pwede pong mauna ang main clause, pwede namang mauna ang conditional clause. Either way, ganun pa rin siya. Hindi nababago yung meaning. So you just have to remember that in a conditional sentence or in a conditional statement, there is always two parts, or usually there are two parts. Okay, we have the if clause or the conditional clause plus the main clause. The conditional clause presents the condition while the main clause explains the result. Kumbaga, parang cause and effect. Okay? Yung conditional clause, ayun yung condition, and then yung main clause, yun yung epekto or yung resulta ng condition. Ayun, o say for example, sa bahay ninyo, when your mother tells you na, I will buy you your favorite snack if you finish your assignment. Okay. I will buy your favorite snack if you finish your assignment. In that case, the main clause is, I will buy your favorite snack. That's the main clause. That's the result. If you will follow or if you will do the condition, which is, if you will do your assignment. Okay, yun yung condition doon. Bago ka bilhan ng mother mo, ng favorite snack mo, you have to meet the condition na gawin muna yung assignment mo. Okay? So, that's it. Alright, so these are the essential words that you will encounter later on this topic. So, when we say condition, it is something that must happen first before something else happen. Okay, so papaano po yun? Kailangan mo nang mangyari tong kondisyon na to bago may mangyari pang iba. Kagaya ng example ko kanina, kailangan mo munang gawin yung kondisyon ng nanay mo na tapusin yung assignment mo bago kanya bilhan ng favorite food or favorite snack mo. Okay? That is condition. Alright? So, we will be also dealing with the word hypothetical. Okay? From the term hypothesis. So, when we say hypothetical, it is imagined, it is not real, or it's just an idea or a what-if situation. So, it is something you think about, but it hasn't actually happened. So, when we say hypothetical, hindi siya totoo. No? Pwedeng what-if situation mo lang siya. What-if scenario mo lang siya. Okay? Example of a hypothetical sentence. Okay? If I were a boy, diba? Kung ako ay isang lalaki. Kumbaga ini-imagine ko lang na, kung ako ay lalaki, I would do this. If I were a boy, I would do this and that. Okay? Hindi siya totoo kasi in reality, I'm not a boy. Diba? I'm a woman. Right? So that's hypothetical. Kumbaga, ini-imagine mo lang siya. Sabi ko nga, it is just a what-if situation. It's not real. It's just an idea. Okay? Alright, so we have also the if or the conditional clause. Okay, just like what I have said earlier, this is a part of a conditional sentence that tells the condition. Pag sinabi nating if clause or conditional clause, nandito yung condition. Alright? When we say naman main clause, no, it is the part of a conditional sentence or conditional statement that will tell us what will happen as the result, okay, of the condition. So ito yung resulta nung condition. Okay, that is the main clause. Alright, so review. This is just a review. Now we have 4 common usage patterns of conditionals. First, to express cause and effect. Ayan, sa Tagalog, sanhi at bunga. Okay? Say for example, if you water plants regularly, okay, so in this case, let me just annotate it. Okay, if you water plants regularly, okay, that is the conditional clause. Okay, they will thrive. This is the main clause. Right? So in this case po, ang cause ay ito, this one. If you water plants regularly, sorry. Okay? And the effect is they will thrive. Ibig sabihin sa Tagalog, kapag diniligan mo ang isang halaman ng regular, sila ay lalago. Okay, ang effect doon ay lalago yung halaman, okay? Which in this case is the main clause, at yung at yung cause naman ay ito. If you water plants regularly. So, nandun yung cause and effect. Merong sanhi at merong bunga. Okay? Second, presenting hypothetical situations. Okay, sabi ko nga kanina, yung hypothetical, it is not real. No? It is just an imagination. It's just imagined. It can be a what if situation. Alright? So for example, if I were you, okay, this is the conditional clause, okay? I would take the job offer. Now this is the main clause. Okay. So, paano naging hypothetical yan? Sabi dito, if I were you, kung ako, ikaw. Diba? In reality, hindi pwedeng maging ako, ikaw. Kasi ikaw ay ikaw at ako ay ako. Okay? That's an example of hypothetical. It's just an idea. Kung ako ay ikaw. But in reality, it is impossible to happen. That's why it is called hypothetical. Alright? What else do we have? The third one is giving advice or making recommendations. Okay, so if you want to succeed, you should work hard. Okay, in this case, the first part is the conditional clause, and the second part is the main clause. Kung gusto mo daw maging successful, kailangan mong paghirapan. Kailangan mong pagpaguran. Okay. So, that's an advice. Diba? Review lang to. This is the modal verb that is used. Diba? From our last topic din. Na should. And should is used for giving advice to someone. Diba? Okay. So, what else? Speculating or imagining scenarios. Mga scenario na, kumbaga ito yung ating mga dreams or aspirations. Okay? Sabi dito, if I had $1,000,000, wow. If I had $1,000,000, I would buy an expensive car. Imagining scenarios. Diba? Kung ako ay may $1,000,000, bibili ako ng expensive car. kung ako ay may 1,000,000 dolyar. Diba? I'm just imagining. What if lang naman meron akong 1,000,000 dolyar? Diba? The result is, pag meron ako 1,000,000 dolyar, the main clause is, or the result is, I would buy an expensive car. So those are the common usage patterns of conditionals. Okay. So now let's move on to the types. Again, the first type of conditional is zero conditional. Okay, again, zero conditional. So again, zero conditional, these are the facts, the general or universal truths, and the things that always happen when a condition is met. Ibig sabihin, zero conditional is always true. It cannot be twisted and there can't be a different result. Okay, paano po? Pag sinabing fact, ibig sabihin, di ba, it is true. It is proven. It is a general truth. Okay? Say, for example, if water reaches 100 degrees, okay, this is a scientific fact. Okay? If water reaches 100 degrees, what will happen? It boils, obviously. Diba? It is a scientific fact. It is always true because there can't be a different result. Ibig sabihin, kapag umabot ng 100 degrees, yung tubig, automatically, kukulo siya. Hindi naman pwedeng mag-yellow siya. Diba? Fact nga it's a scientific fact. It's a general truth. Ibig sabihin, wala ka nang dapat ibang i-expect na result. That is zero conditional. Again, you only have to remember when we say zero conditional, it should be a fact. It should be a general or universal truth. It is real and it always happen. The result always is consistent. No? Wala nang ibang resulta pa. Yun na yun. Okay, so papaano po yung structure ng conditional sentence or zero conditional sentence rather? Okay, so unahin natin, we have if, yung if na word plus present simple. Itong present simple po is a verb tense. 'Di ba? What are the usual tenses of verb? We have the present, we have the past, and we have the future. Okay, in this case, ang gagamitin natin ay present simple. Present simple. Okay, so paano po yun? Okay, so take a look at this table. Doon sa if clause or doon sa conditional clause na part, so ang structure po niyan ay if plus present simple. Doon naman sa main clause natin, present simple. Okay, say for example, if water reaches 100 degrees, okay, that's the conditional clause, it boils. Okay, this is the result. Paano po naging present simple? Ito po. Ano po ba yung verb dyan? Verb, di ba, is the action word? Okay. So, reaches. Ayan. Nasa present simple siya. Present simple tense of the verb. Ito rin, boils. Present simple. Wala siyang word na will. Wala siyang suffix na ed or d. Diba? Kapag may suffix na ed or d for regular verbs ay past tense siya. Okay? So, tatandaan po natin, isa po dapat nating tandaan when we say zero conditional, no? It uses present simple tense of verb. Okay? Another example. If you cross right? An international dateline, the time changes. Okay, ano daw po pag zero conditional? Sabi ko, di ba? It is a fact. So in this case, totoo ba to? Is it a general truth na if you cross an international dateline, the time changes? Say for example, kapag nag-migrate ka or nag-abroad kayo, kapag if you cross the international dateline, of course, mababago yung oras. Kaya nga meron tayong term na jet lag, di ba? Lalo na kapag malayo yung pupuntahan natin, malayo yung time difference ng bansa na pupuntahan natin. Nagbabago din yung oras. Di ba? Okay? So that is a fact. That is a general truth. Okay? Ano pa yung pangalawa? Ang structure niya dapat siya ay nasa present simple tense. So, check nga natin kung nasa present simple siya. Okay, the verb here is cross. Okay? Check, nasa present simple. The main clause changes. Okay, so also check, nasa present simple tense siya. Okay? So, last example, meron pa tayo. The conditional clause is if you heat ice. Okay? The main clause or the result is it melts. Okay, unang tanong, is it a fact? Is it true? Okay, lagi bang nagme-melt yung ice kapag pinainit siya? Of course. Okay, so let's check naman yung structure niya. Okay, if you heat ice, so in this case, ang verb ay heat. Nasa present simple ba? Yes. Okay, how about the main clause? The verb here is melts. Okay, nasa present simple ba? Yes. Okay. Therefore, this is an example of a zero conditional sentence or zero conditional statement. Again, when we say zero conditional, it must be a fact. Okay, a general or universal truth. And these are the things that always happen. Laging nangyayari. That's why, remember last time, I told you to construct or compose conditional statements based on scientific fact. If you're wondering bakit scientific fact, diba in science, scientific concepts are always true. It can't be twisted because it is proven, it is research, it was researched and studied by different scientists and different experts on the field over time. Therefore, it is a fact. Diba? So I told you to compose or construct a conditional statement, zero conditional statement, based on the scientific facts that you know. Because actually, scientific facts are examples of zero, can be an example of zero conditional. Kaya nito, if water reaches 100 degrees, it boils. If you cross an international dateline, the time changes. Fact. If you heat ice, it melts. Truth. Diba? Okay, so those are examples of zero conditional. Okay, so now let's move on to the next. Kanina, zero. Ngayon, first conditional. First conditional. Okay, from its definition, sorry. First conditionals are used to talk about things that might happen in the future. It describes possible things which could easily come true. When we say possible, review ulit tayo. Modals, di ba? We have modals that expresses possibility. When we say possibility or possible, there is a chance that it might happen. And there is also a chance that it might not happen. Kumbaga, 50-50. Pwede siyang mangyari, pwedeng hindi. Diba? Used to talk about things that might. Oh, ito na naman. It is a modal, diba? Modal verb that expresses possibility. Okay? Ito yung mga bagay. Ginagamit ang first conditional para pag-usapan ang mga bagay na maaaring mangyari sa hinaharap. Paano po? Paano? Okay. Say for example. Okay. If I study hard, mhm, I will pass the exam. Okay. If I study hard, I will pass the exam. Okay, so in this case, ang ating conditional clause ay ito. If I study hard. Kung ako ay mag-aaral ng mabuti, maipapasa ko ang exam. Right? So that is first conditional. Ito yung kondisyon, ito yung pwedeng maging resulta. Possible things. Pwede bang mangyari na kapag nag-aaral ako ng mabuti, may papasa ko ang exam? Yes. Pwede rin bang mangyari na kapag kahit nag-aral ako ng mabuti, hindi ko pa rin maipasa yung exam? Yes. Okay? It talks about possibilities. Pwedeng mangyari in the future. Okay? Now, you have to remember na kapag first conditionals ang pinag-uusapan natin, ang verb tense ay naka-future tense. Ibig sabihin, hindi pa nangyari, hindi nangyayari, kundi mangyayari pa lamang. So, what is the word that indicates future tense? Of course, we use the word will. Okay, so this is the structure of the first conditional. Una, yung if na word if. Okay, and then present simple tense, the will, and the base form of the verb. Ibig sabihin, pag base form, yung verb mismo. Run, ano pa ba? Walk, talk, jump. Okay, that is the base form. Wala kang dinagdag na S, wala kang dinagdag na suffix na ED. Wala. The base form, the standard form of the verb. Okay, so take a look at the table. Again, doon sa if clause or the conditional clause, ang structure niya ay yung word na if, and then the present simple tense of the verb. Sa main clause naman, nakikita mo dyan dapat yung will na word and the base form. Kasi nga, naka-future tense siya. Ibig sabihin, mangyayari pa lang. So we use the word will. Say for example, if, yan na, if you don't eat, okay? If you don't eat, you will feel weak. You will feel weak. Okay. Pag hindi ka daw kumain, manghihina ka. Makakaramdam ka ng hina. First conditional. Pwede mangyari? Pwede. Right? If hindi ka kumain ngayon, possible, in the future, manghihina ka. Okay? Another example. If it rains. Again, if it rains, kapag umulan, that is the conditional clause. The result is, we will cancel the flight. We will cancel the flight. Okay, again, if it rains, okay, we will cancel the flight. Another example. If you don't hurry, ayan na naman, if you don't hurry, you will miss the movie. Pag hindi mo binilisan, pwedeng ma-miss mo yung movie. Okay, those are the examples of first conditional sentences. Again, you have to remember when we say first conditional, these are used to talk about things that might happen in the future. It describes possible things which could easily come true. When we say first conditionals, it talks about possibility that might happen in the future. Okay? So, for its structure, yung kanyang conditional clause ay if plus the present simple tense of verb. For the main clause, the word will plus the base form of the verb. Again, pag sinabi nating base form, it's the standard form of the verb. Say, for example, run, walk, talk, yung verb mismo. Okay? The will and the base form of the verb. Say, for example, will feel, will, then cancel, will, then miss. So, yung mga verb na ginamit dito ay nasa base form. Diba? Okay. So, that is the first conditionals. Now, let us move on to the third type of conditional, which is the second conditional. Kanina, we already identified two. The zero conditional. When we say zero conditional, again, it is all about the facts, general truths, okay? And the things that always happen. For example, a scientific fact. For its structure, it uses if plus the present simple, and for the main clause, present simple. Okay? The second type, we have the first conditionals. Okay, in first conditional, we use this to talk about what might happen in the future. We use this to talk about possibilities, kung ano yung posibleng mangyari sa hinaharap. Okay? For its structure naman, doon sa kanyang if clause or conditional clause, na makikita mo dyan yung word na if plus the present simple tense of the verb. Again, if plus the present simple tense of the verb. Doon naman sa kanyang main clause, dahil tungkol ito sa mga posibilidad or sa mga bagay na pwedeng mangyari sa hinaharap or in the future, kailangan makikita mo dyan yung word na will. Again, in the main clause, will plus the base form of the verb. Pag sinabi nating base form, the standard form of the verb, yung verb mismo. Run, di ba? Yan. Eat, what else? Sleep. Ay, wala kang dinagdag kasi nasa base form siya. Alright, so dito tayo sa second conditional. What is second conditionals? So we use this to talk about unreal, okay? Take note of that. Unreal or unlikely situations in the present or future that are not probably going to be true. Okay. Ito na dito na papasok yung word na hypothetical or hypothetic. Again, when we say hypothetical, it is just imagine. It's not real. Okay? Kaya sabi dito, unreal or unlikely situations in the present or future that are not probably going to be true. Kumbaga ano ka lang dito, delulu. Alam niyo yun? Delulu ka lang. These are the things na hindi naman pwedeng mangyari because they are unreal. Diba? Say for example, yan na. If I won the lottery, so this is the conditional clause, I would travel the world. The world, that is the main clause. Sabi, it is used about unreal or unlikely situations. Okay, sabi niya dito, if I won the lottery, kapag ako ay nanalo ng loto, ako ay magta-travel sa buong mundo. 'Di ba? Though it is possible to happen na manalo ka sa loto. Pero if you think about it, it's very unreal or it's very rare. Sabi nga, it's an example of unlikely situation na manalo ka sa isang lottery or sa isang loto. Okay? That is second conditional. If I won the lottery, I would travel the world. Okay. So let's move on naman to its structure. Okay. So on the conditional clause, binubuo siya ng word na if plus past simple. O ano naman, kanina present simple, ngayon past simple. Ibig sabihin, naka-past tense siya. Ano bang hinahanap natin kapag naka-past tense? For regular verbs, okay? Again, for regular verbs, malalaman natin na naka-past simple tense siya kapag meron siyang suffix na ano, ed. Ed or d. Ano yon? O, say for example, okay, walk. That is the base form. Walk. Okay? Pag gusto mo siyang gawing past simple, mag-a-add ka ng ed sa dulo. Okay? Therefore, ang past simple tense ng walk ay walked. Oh, what else? The verb talk, salita. That is the base form, talk. If you want to make it past simple tense, you will add the suffix ed. So, ang mangyayari magiging talked. Okay? That's for regular verb. However, kapag irregular verbs, when we say irregular verbs, these are the words na nababago yung buong spelling niya. Kapag ginawa mo siyang past tense or in the future tense. Say, for example, the word run. That's the base form of the verb. Hindi mo siya pwedeng digdagan ng ed or d. Ano po ang past tense ng run? Okay. Ang past tense po ng run ay run. Okay? So, yung U naging A. What else? Drink. Hindi mo naman pwedeng dagdagan ng ed. Drink. Hindi siya drink. Diba? So, ang kanya past tense ay what? Drunk. Drank. Sorry, drank. Okay? What else? C. Hindi mo pwedeng dagdagan ng ed or ng d, seed, diba? Okay, the past simple tense of C is saw. Okay, so those are four irregular verbs. That's why you have to be mindful po, lalo na sa mga irregular verbs, kung papaano siya. Para alam natin if nasa past simple tense pa siya or ano. Okay? However, let's go back to the structure. So take a look at this table. In the if clause or the conditional clause of a second conditional statement, sabi ko nga, if. Okay, makikita natin dyan yung, sorry, if. Okay, if. If I knew, di ba, nasa past simple siya. If I knew, kung alam ko lang ang kanyang number. Ano ang base form ng knew? No, di ba? No. K-N-O-W. No. Past simple tense, knew. Future tense, will know. Okay? Past participle, known. Pero ang gagamitin lang natin dito sa second conditional ay past simple. So, in this case, ang past simple tense ng know ay knew. Ito. Okay. So, okay na tayo sa conditional clause. Now, let's take a look at the main clause. I would call him. Again, I would call him. Sabi, dapat merong would. Okay, would plus base form. Sabi ko, pag base form, it's the standard form of the verb, yung verb mismo. And in this case, the verb in this clause is call. Okay, let's read it. If I knew his number, I would call him. Kung alam ko lang ang kanyang numero, tatawagan ko siya. Paano po, teacher, naging second conditional yan? Sabi ko nga, in second conditional, it is unreal or unlikely situations in the present or in the future that are not probably going to be true. It is hypothetical. Kung nasa akin ang sabi dito sa first, kung nasa akin lang ang number niya, in reality, wala sa yung number niya. Diba? It's unreal, hindi siya totoo. Tatawagan ko siya. If I knew his number, I would call him. But in reality, you don't have his number. Right? Okay. Next example. If they, okay, dyan na naman yung if. If they offered, okay, offered is in the past simple tense of verb. Yung base form ng offered ay offer. Okay. If they offered me the job, the main clause is I would plus the base form accept it. If they offered me the job, I would accept it. Okay? Kung inalok nila sa akin yung trabaho, tatanggapin ko ito. Kapag inalok. Okay? Ibig sabihin, hindi siya inalok. Hindi pa inaalok. It's unreal, hindi totoo. If they offered me the job, I would accept it. Okay? Next. If I were a superhero, teacher, nasan dyan yung nasan dyan yung verb? Parang wala namang verb dyan. Again, di ba, we have the linking verbs. We have auxiliary verbs. Yung modals. Yung modal verbs, di ba? Those are auxiliary verbs. Okay, so in this case, ang ginamit na verb dito is were. If I were a superhero, this is a linking verb. Okay, this is a linking verb. If I were a superhero, I would plus the base form fly. If I were a superhero, I would fly around the world. Okay, halata naman. It's obvious. It's very unreal or it's an unlikely situation. Kung ako daw ay isang superhero, ako ay lilipad. Lilibutin ko ang buong mundo. Mm. It's very unreal. It's very hypothetical. It's just an idea. Kung ako lang ay isang superhero, but in reality, I'm not a superhero. No? When we say superheroes, they are fictional. Hindi man tayo nakakalipad eh. I mean like literal na nakakalipad, 'di ba? We don't have the ability to fly. Wala tayong pakpak, 'di ba? It's hypothetical. Hindi siya totoo. It's just an imagination, right? It's just imagined situation. Okay, that is second conditionals. Again, you have to remember when we say second conditionals, used to talk about unreal or unlikely situations in the present, future that are not probably going to be true. Okay. Sabi ko nga, second conditionals are what? Hypothetical. Pag sinabing hypothetical, not real. What else? Imagine situation. Okay, ano pa? What if scenario. Ayan. Okay? And its structure is on the conditional clause, may word na if plus the past simple. And on the main clause naman, yung word na would plus the base form of the verb. Alright? Now let us move on to the last type of conditional. The fourth and the last type of conditional. Ayan. So, third conditionals are used to talk about unreal situations. Teacher, yung second conditional, di ba? Unreal situations. Unreal situations din. Third conditional, unreal din. Yes po. The only difference is that doon sa second conditional, it's all about unreal situations in the present or in the future. While in third conditionals, it is used to talk about unreal situations or things in the past. Again, sa second conditional, unreal situations in the present or in the future. In third conditionals, unreal situations in the past. Okay? Nasa past tense to third conditionals. Okay, say for example, if she had practiced more. Yan. If she had practiced more, she would have passed the piano exam. O sabi dyan, regrets and missed opportunity. Yes. Now, if we will think about it, third conditionals, we can use this to express regrets or missed opportunity. Kasi nga, it's about situations, unreal situations in the past. Mga pangyayaring hindi hindi totoo sa, what is the Tagalog term for past? Sa nakaraan. Okay. So, pwede dito maging topic ang regrets and missed opportunity. Oh, kagaya ng example, if she had practiced more, kung sana nag-practice lang siya, kung sana nag-practice pa siya, baka naipasa niya yung piano examination. Diba? Parang ano yan eh, regrets. Oh, regret talaga siya. Diba? Kung siya lang ay nag-practice, sana naipasa niya yung piano examination niya. Paano po naging unreal yun? Unreal situation. Eh, hindi siya nag-practice eh. That's why it's unreal. If she had practiced more, sabi. But in reality, hindi siya nag-practice, making it an unreal situation in the past. Okay? Structure. For its structure, in the conditional clause, makikita natin dyan yung word na if plus the past perfect tense would have naman for the main clause and the past participle. Teacher, sabi mo yung verb tenses tatlo lang. Present, simple, and present, future, and the past. Present, past, and future. Past, present, future. Past, present, future. Okay? So, there are different facets pa under that. Meron tayong past perfect, meron tayong past participle, meron tayong present perfect, present participle. Okay. So, ngayon, focus tayo dito sa kailangan natin. Past perfect. Paano po kunin na past perfect? Paano po malalaman yung past perfect? Okay. Here's the thing. Past perfect tense po, kukunin natin yung word na had. Okay? Word na had. Plus the past participle. Yan po yung formula. Had plus the past participle is equal to past perfect. Oh. Say for example, had plus past participle ng no. Ano bang past participle ng no? Diba? Known? Okay, the base form of no, ayan mismo, no. Base form yan. Pag ginawa mong no, past simple. Pag ginawa mong known, past participle. Ngayon, pag dinagdagan mo ng had, siya ay magiging had known, which is the past perfect tense. Okay, naiintindihan? Again, past perfect tense ay kukunin natin yung word na had plus the past participle of the verb. For example, had plus the past participle of know, which is known, okay, equals to had known. Okay, so yun po yun. Sige. Punta tayo sa examples. Okay? Right. If he had, yan na. If, yung word na if he had listened. Sabi ko nga, ang past perfect had plus the past participle. If he had listened to his mom, that's the conditional clause. He would have passed the exam. That's the main clause. And under main clause, gagamitin natin yung term na would have. Ito siya, would have. Plus the past participle, which is past. Diba? So the sentence would be, if he had listened to his mom, he would have passed the exam. O anong feature ng third conditional? Sabi, it's an unreal situation that did not happen in the past. Kung nakinig lang sana siya sa mother niya, baka naipasa niya yung exam. Okay. Regrets? Yes. Kung sana, 'di ba? Ito yung mga ano natin eh, mga what if, 'di ba? What if nakinig ka sa nanay mo, 'di ba? Sana naipasa mo yung exam. What if ganito yung ginawa mo, 'di ba? Again, third conditionals, it can be about regrets or missed opportunities. Ito yung mga bagay na hindi nangyari sa nakaraan. Okay, another example po. If I had, ayan, the if, word if, and then the past perfect, again, had, plus the past participle of know, which is known. Okay, if I had known about the quiz, okay, main clause, would have. I would have prepared. Kung alam ko lang yung tungkol sa quiz, sana nakapag-prepare ako. Sana nakapaghanda ako. 'Di ba? Regrets. If I had known about the quiz, I would have prepared. Kung sana nalaman ko yung quiz na mas maaga, sana nakapaghanda ako. Ang kaso, hindi mo nalaman, hindi mo alam yung about sa quiz. That's why hindi ka nakapag-prepare. Okay, another one. If they had invited, this is the past perfect, had plus the past participle of invite, which is invited. If they had invited us, we would have come. We would have come. If they had invited us, we would have come. Kung sana inimbita nila kami, sana pumunta kami. Diba? Okay, so are you getting the point of the use of third conditionals? Again, let us have a quick recap. When we say zero conditional, it's all about facts, general truths that always happen. Example of this is a scientific fact. For example, for its structure, we use the word if plus the present simple, and on the main clause, present simple. Okay? For the first conditional, talk about the things that might happen in the future. It talks about possibilities or the possible things. Okay? Structure. In the conditional clause, if plus the present simple, and on the main clause, the word will, because it talks about future. Will plus the base form of the verb. And the second conditional, it is used to talk about unreal or unlikely situations in the present or future. Again, in the present or future. Unreal situations in the present or future. Okay, for its structure, if plus the past simple, and in the main clause naman, would plus the base form of the verb. Okay, the last conditional, type of conditional, the third conditional. So, kung sa second conditional, unreal situations about present and future. In third conditionals, unreal situations or things that did not happen in the past. Again, in the past. Okay? Structure. Sa conditional clause, we have the word if plus the past perfect. Again, paano po yung past perfect? Past perfect po is had plus the past participle is equal to past perfect. Okay? On the main clause naman, we have would have plus the past participle. So that is the structure of third conditional statement or sentence. Okay, so here's the summarization of our discussion. You only have to remember, when we say conditionals, these are if sentences that describe a condition and its result. describe a condition and its result. No? It has two parts. We have the conditional clause which presents the condition and the main clause which presents the result. Okay? Conditionals show a cause and effect relationship or talk about possibilities, situations, and consequences. There are four types of conditionals: the zero, first, second, and third. In zero conditional, it is about general truths, facts, and rules. First conditionals show real and possible situations. Second conditional, imaginary or hypothetical or unlikely situations that are impossible, that are not true and impossible to happen. Okay? In third conditional naman, imaginary past action. It can be about regrets or missed opportunity. Okay, so ayan. Conditionals clearly show the connection between actions and their possible results, helping us reason better and persuade others more effectively in arguments. Okay, so that is one use of conditional. Okay, so with that, that ends this video about the conditional statements or the conditional sentences and its types. Alright, so the material is already, this reading material is already uploaded in your Quipper account. So please take time to open it, to read it. And if you weren't able to access it or you have a trouble in opening it, just message me directly. Or if you have questions, queries, or clarifications about the reading material or the topic itself, you can ask me directly about it. Okay, so this ends our video. I hope you learned something from it. And please stand by now for your next activities. You will be having your performance task about this. So I will be giving you the instructions